will show you how to do my Brigitte Bardot inspired hair and makeup look. Now, this is obviously a lot different from what I usually do on my channel. It's much more makeup than I'm used to, so I hope you all still like it. If you're not already subscribed to my channel, please hit the subscribe button below, hit the notification bell next to it so you get updates when I post new videos. Follow me on social media at Katrinaosity, and if you enjoy this video, please click the like button below.
For hair, I wanted to emulate that really tousled look that was her signature, whether her hair was down or up, in one of these looks where she piled it on top of her head. So the first thing I did with my hair, of course, was brush it out, shake it out, and then put a bunch of dry shampoo in it. This way it was going to lift from the root and soak up any excess oil that was in there that would be weighing it down. I shook that through all of the roots of my hair, and then I separated the top half of my hair from the bottom and brushed it upward. Then I secured it with an elastic right up against the hairline, because for this look I had to fake some bangs, which I don't have. So I pulled it through the same way I would on a ponytail, except I didn't pull it all the way through on the last rotation. And then I secured that little nubbin bun up there with a little claw clip. Then I used some synthetic hair extensions from Luxe Beauty Club, and I just brushed those out. Then I secured 3 tracks of them to the top half of my hair, and I worked from closest to my hairline and then worked my way back to the part. So I did 3 right on top of each other, and I'd put them in basically upside down so that I'd get more lift from the root. Then I teased them a little bit with a comb and sort of rolled them up on themselves just to create some height in the hair. It didn't really matter how I did this, so I just created a couple of loops and then pinned them down with some bobby pins. The main goal was to get some fullness and height. Then I curled the bottom half of my hair away from my face, and I used a large barrel curling iron. This was really just more to smooth the ends than anything else, since most of this look is piled on top of the head. Once I had done that, I separated the third of my hair that was on the back of my head in the lower part and pulled it up and around the front of that hair tie, and secured the end around the back of my head with a bobby pin. I didn't really worry too much about the ends because they're just going to add a little bit more to this tousled look. Then I took the right side of my hair and secured that on top of my head with a bobby pin, and did the same with the left, and just secured the ends into little loops of curls, and that way it's going to create some little flippy ends sticking out of the hair. And then on one side I used the ends of my hair to add more layers to the bangs. Then I did a zigzag part through the sections I left out to make bangs, and I curled those with a large barrel curling iron as well. Then I pinned the very sides of the bangs up to cover up some of the parts in my hair, and that is pretty much it. I just hairsprayed it and left it nice and loose and tousled to emulate her sort of carefree look. Now for the makeup, especially later in her career, she really went smoky with the eyes. So I'm starting out with this Ole Henriksen Truth Serum. I love this serum because it plumps up my skin and it also brightens my skin gradually over time, which I love because I love to have that extra brightness. When I tend to get dehydrated really easily, my skin looks really dull. Then I used this Cover FX Blurring Primer. Now, Brigitte had a habit of using really thick and heavy foundation, and I didn't necessarily want to do that, so just to cover up any pores and blur any of those fine lines, I smoothed this all over my face so I wouldn't have to use a heavy foundation application. Then I used my go-to foundation, which is a powder mineral foundation from Arbonne, and I applied that using a fluffy brush all over my face, and didn't want it to be too heavy, just enough to smooth my complexion and even out my skin tone. Then I used this taupe shade for my eyebrows. Now, if you have darker hair, you could go ahead and use a dark brown. She had fairly heavy eyeshadow application in her brows, but I didn't want to go that extreme, so I did a fairly dark line along the bottom line of my eyebrows and the tails, and then I filled in the inner part of my eyebrows in upward motions, and just layered it on gradually until it looked about right. Then I used a light cream shadow and applied that up around my brow bone on both sides. Then I put a really rosy looking blush underneath my cheekbones to hollow them out. And then I went in with this Lancome brow gel, and this was just to add a little bit more structure to my brows and make sure they stayed in place. I combed the tails out to the side of my face and then the inner parts of my brows in an upward direction. And then I went in with a nice dark brown gel liner on a really fine brush. Yes, I'm actually using a paintbrush for this because I found that these tips are much finer on really high quality paintbrushes, so they give me the best line. Now, I really hit the eyeliner on this look. Her smoky cat eyes weren't necessarily the most defined cat eye tail most of the time. She tended to have a shorter cat eye tail and just more focused on the smoke effect of the eye. So I did a shorter tail out to the side and then connected that line to the bottom lash line and drew that about halfway in on the lower lash line. Then I went in with a really dark brown eyeshadow and pressed that onto the eyelid only up to the crease line. I didn't want to go past the crease line, so I just kept layering that up by patting it on, and then I used an angle brush to pat it onto the lower inner lash line. I found that this stays in place better on the waterline than a gel liner. Then I cleaned it up with some concealer and covered up any redness, and of course this is my main concealer that I use for my Dune Minerals. Then I went in with these really full looking fake eyelashes. I definitely don't prefer to wear these. I like to use individual lashes, but this look definitely called for the full lash effect. Then I used a little bit of mascara to stick my eyelashes to the fake ones, let that dry, and went in with a really nice nude shell pink lipstick and just patted it on, sort of blurring the Cupid's bow. And that is the finished look. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more old Hollywood glamour-inspired makeup and hair tutorials, let me know in the comments below. Follow me on social media at Katrinaosity, and be sure to check out my podcast at MDXpods.com and click that like button below.